So we're going to talk about qualification. It's one of the most overlooked and misunderstood phases of the emotional progression model, but conversely, it's one of the most important. We're going to cover the theory of qualification, the explanation of it, so you have a clear understanding of the concept, and I'm going to give you a lot of material that you can use tonight. Bruce Lee said, "Running water never grows stale." He also said, "What?" But that's irrelevant to this talk, all right? Running water never grows stale. Now, one day, Savoy invented the triangle, and he realized that it had some applications to seduction. And he invented the triad model. We've already talked about it today. You've got the emotional progression, logistical progression, and the physical progression of the triangle. And the key thing about this model is escalation. It's progression, all right? You need to escalate emotionally, escalate logistically, escalate physically. If you stall or camp out at any point along there for too long, okay, the interaction will die. You'll start to hear the sputterings, like an engine dying. You'll start to go, you'll start to see signs that it's not going too well, and you'll camp out, and it'll die. Now, for instance, a lot of guys get stuck on the opener. They camp out at the opener. The opener goes so well that you don't want to leave it, or you don't know how to leave it. You talk about whatever it could be, you're absolutely gorgeous, and you keep talking about it. I bet guys hit on you all the time. You must get a lot of guys hitting on you. You're really actually, quite fantastic. And you see that a lot. Guys just get stuck on the opener. They stall there. And a common problem as regards qualification is guys get stuck in attraction. When I first got into the love systems things, the thing that I was the most excited about, I think, was the ability to consciously create attraction. The idea that it could be anything other than a haphazard kind of random thing, whether a girl liked me or not, the idea that I could actually fairly consistently elicit attraction, create attraction, was really exciting. So when I first learned how to do it, it was kind of like discovering a new toy, I just wanted to attract everything that I could. Attraction, attraction, attraction. You get these reactions, you start to see the girls laughing, it's really fantastic. But who's ever been in a situation where you see the girl laughing, it's this you, all right? You see the girl laughing and things are going well, your attraction rises, and after a while it seems to plateau, and you do the same things you've been doing, but it doesn't seem to be having much of an effect, and then after a short period of time it starts to decay. Has anyone ever noticed that before? And you try harder, and it just seems to make it go down quicker, right? And you think, well, I need some more routines. So you go and get some more attraction routines, and the same thing happens, Or you think, I need to, just vary my voice tone or raise my energy level. I need to raise my energy level. So you raise your energy level higher, and you speak more, and you plow more, and you become a dancing monkey. All right, this is called dancing monkey syndrome. This is obviously an advanced case, also known as dancing monkey syndrome, also known as just kill yourself, because that's basically what it feels like when you're in that situation. All right, and it doesn't work. If you camp out at attraction, your interaction will die. Okay, she will get bored. You will run out of things to say. She won't pick up the phone when you call. Okay, she won't go on a date with you. It's a little bit like if you rub your arm. Usually this is a PG-13 seminar, so I'm not going to go where I usually go with this, but just rub your arm for now, all right? And it feels quite nice to rub the inside of the arm there. After a while of doing this, it will become numb. And if you keep rubbing for much longer, it'll start to get red, start to be painful, right? And this is what attraction is a little bit like. You have to move on from there. You have to progress. So what is qualification? In the attraction phase, actually, just one more time. There we are. Okay. In the attraction phase, you become you're creating a space in the interaction to display your personality, to display your attractive traits to the girl, and then she becomes attracted. All right? Qualification is just the flip side of that, where you're creating a space in the interaction for the girl to show you her qualities, show you her personality, talk about herself, all right? And then you compliment that and you reward that. People have described it as showing her you like her for something more than her looks. Okay, giving her a chance to talk about it and then appreciating that. Magic Bullet says, defines it as you becoming curious about her as a woman. All right? Sounds like a song lyric or something like that. But that's basically what it is. The process is, number one, you ask a question or create somehow the space for her to have a response. You need to elicit that response from her. Number two, she steps up. She gives a response. She answers your question or she tries to impress you in some way. Number three, you show interest. You show interest. All right? This is your time to give IOIs. This is your time to do that. And then you rinse, wash, and repeat. So why qualify? Our Follow Futures lead and split this into two camps, the ethical and the tactical. From an ethical standpoint, in qualification, what we're doing is we're getting to know the girl, right? We're finding out who she is. This is our first real chance in the interaction so far to begin to get an idea of what kind of girl is this? What kind of girl is she? Okay? You can actually screen for specific things. Say you like adventurous, open-minded girls who love to travel and these things, You can screen for that. You can look for that in qualification. We'll do an exercise a little bit later. We're going to list some qualities, and I'm going to teach you how to screen for them in a very natural way, a very easy way. So ethically speaking, you get to see if this is the kind of girl who might be a good fit for you. Is this the kind of girl you'd like in your life from an ethical standpoint? Tactically, it doesn't matter so much what you qualify her on, just so that you do qualify her on something and that she tries, okay? She makes an effort. So you can choose to, the ethical use of qualification is an option, okay? But sometimes, you just want to go purely tactical with it. You don't mind so much who she is. You just want to get the result that you're after. In this case, that's fine as well. In a strictly cause and effect sense, her answer doesn't matter. What she says doesn't matter. The point is that she tries, okay? And why is that? It's because, number one, qualification invites investment. Invites investment. So far, I've been doing most of the investing. I've opened. I've been, attracting, which usually involves me speaking a little bit more than she does. I've invested energy into the interaction and generated content for the interaction. Now I'm inviting her to invest in the interaction and generate content. Investment equals value. Okay? And valuable things are attractive. If the girl can invest, if you can get the girl to start investing in the conversation, she'll start the reason you do that is because she starts to perceive you as valuable. Okay? Those two things play off each other, and backwards rationalized, I'm investing a lot. He must be valuable. I must be attracted to him because I'm attracted to valuable people. Does that make sense? That's why it's so key to, as well as coming towards the girl, to step back a little bit. Give her the gift of the chase. Create space for her to invest. It's a key part. You've heard the phrase, easy come, easy go, right? Easy come, easy go. And attraction's a bit like that sometimes. It's really easy to get a girl laughing and giggling. Who's ever had that experience where you get a girl laughing and giggling, and then you get separated somehow, or something happens, some other person comes in, and before you know it, a few minutes later, she's kissing some other guy on the dance floor, or she's leaving with some guy. Who's ever had that happen to them before? I certainly have, yeah. And attraction can be very easy come, easy go. Qualification personalizes it. She begins to invest in you. So rather than feeling nice feelings of attraction and flirtation and just these sort of cloud-like feelings around her, they start to become zoned and focused on you. She invests in you to impress you. You become valuable. Attraction becomes stickier. All right? There are limits to this. I'm saying give the girl the gift of the chase. There are limits, though. I was in Melbourne one time. We were teaching a boot camp there, and it was the last day of the boot camp, so we had no in-field that night. And I was out with 5.0, another one of our instructors. We were in a rock bar along the beach in Melbourne, and he was talking to a very beautiful girl. I was talking to a girl, and we get chatting, and it's going really well. It gets to the point where I'm about to kiss her. So we're sat down, and she kind of sensed that. So she said, we can't go any further here. And I said, all right. And then she said, because my mother is in the room. My mother is in the room. I said, okay, well, let's get out of here. So I just took her arm in arm, and we walked outside. As we walked outside of this club, from the shadows behind a lamppost came a woman. It was her mother. She said, "Cara." "Hello, Cara. I've come to stop you, Cara." Okay. What turned out was this girl with me was 26 years old, and she'd been divorced 3 weeks ago. And her mother didn't approve of the divorce and was following her through the bars of Melbourne, right? Preventing her from meeting guys like me, I guess. They started a big argument. They start shouting at each other. I should have known at this point, with the love systems training and experience that marked me so clearly. I should have known at this point that it all was lost. I should go back inside, have another beer, talk to another girl, whatever. Just have another beer, really, is the main reason to go back inside, right? But I was fascinated by what was going on. I was mesmerized. They were fighting, And so they would fight, and then we'd walk towards the hotel, and they'd fight, and we'd walk towards the hotel. And at one point, the girl turns to the mother and says, "Mom, do you want to have sex with me?" And the mom says, "No, Cara, no." And then she said, "Well, he does, and I want to have sex with him too, so leave us alone," right? Right, so we start walking a little bit more. At this point, 5.0 walks by with his girl. He was leaving with the girl he'd been talking to. He thought I was trying to pull a mother-daughter threesome. That's what he thought, right? Which is not beyond my tastes, but probably beyond my abilities, And so he tried to give me some social proof, So he comes in, he's like, "Hey, what's up?" Saying hi to me and all this. And then, this argument stops for a moment, And then he leaves, and the whole thing erupts again. We get back to my place. We have an automatic door at the hotel with a key card. I put the key card in, the door opens. The mother's quick. She's been doing this for the last 3 weeks. And she scoots in behind me really fast. Okay, damn, We get to this really heavy door, like a big heavy fire door at the bottom of the stairs that lead to the rooms. Key card in, open it. I try and slam it behind me. But she's quick. She's experienced, She knows what she's doing. She puts her foot in the door. It gets trapped. So I can't, she comes in after us. And I go upstairs, and all this time arguing. We go around the corner, and there's 5.0 outside the room with his girl, and I'm out there with my girl. That's fine. And then the mother comes around. All hell breaks loose in this corridor. It's been a long night. I go to use the bathroom. Right? I come out, and they're all gone. All I see is just 5.0 like this, standing at me, looking at me like this, kind of angry. He got rid of all of them. I don't know how he did it. I never asked him. In fact, I didn't speak to him again. But So in that situation, okay, that's logistics. Logistics is screwing you up a little bit there, And that is, I guess, too much chase, all right? That's an example of too much chase, too much obstacle. All right, another reason to qualify, it's a temperature gauge. It's a temperature gauge. Future calls it his "oh shit" button, or one of his "oh shit" buttons. When he's in interaction and he's not sure where he is, not 100% sure what's going on, there's a couple of things that he'll grab to automatically. Right? He'll try moving, he'll try escalating, and he'll try qualifying. Because a girl will not qualify if she's not into you. Qualification, number 3, is an attractive act in itself. It's the act of a pre-selected man with choice. The desperate man can't afford to qualify. He can't afford to be discerning and choose and ask the girl questions about herself. He can't, because he gets what he can get. But the pre-selected man can afford to be discriminating because he has options. So the act of qualifying itself is the act of a pre-selected man. It's an attractive act inherently. Qualification and attraction are two parts of the same coin. They're so closely linked. They're pretty much the same thing to a certain degree, okay? Qualification is an attraction routine in itself. The last, fourth reason to qualify is you can set frames here. I'll teach you how to do that a bit later, but you can use qualification to set frames. Frames are the underlying assumptions behind the interactions. So we have a teacher-student frame right now. You can use qualification to set frames that will underlie the interaction and be advantageous to both of you. And I'll teach you how to do that a little bit later. And finally, the ultimate motivation, the ultimate reason to qualify. I'm asking, why qualify? This is the reason here. Because it works, right? Because it works. And that's the result you get. All right, I'm going to leave that out there for a little while. Try and pay attention to what I'm telling you. We're going to do a little exercise now. This is something Sheriff, one of the guys who I trained with him a lot back in the early days, he did this exercise. So get your paper out and make a list, 1 through 5. I'd like you to write down 5 non-physical qualities that you'd like in a woman. 5 non-physical qualities that you'd like in a woman. I'll give you a little bit of time to do that. Now, here's the thing, guys. Keep writing as I'm saying this. Here's the thing. Why am I getting you to write down what you want in a woman? The reason is you could just take a lot of the things and write a lot of the things down that I'm going to give you and recite them verbatim. You could do that quite easily, and it would work quite well. But it's 100% more congruent, 100% more effective, and useful if you can put your own ideas, your own spin and personality on what I'm going to say. And I'll show you some clear points where you can just slot in, okay, these 5 qualities. Let's get on to the how-tos of qualifying. Qualifying usually starts light, playful, and it progresses to deeper, harder qualification, all right? And I want to show you my favorite kind of qualification. This is something I came up with teaching a lot of day game. It's a conversational structure that you can use. It's not a routine. It's a conversational structure. It's a way of making statements that open up a variety of topics to talk about. Here it is. Soft qualification. Flaccid qualification, you could say. Number 1, state a preference for a quality. Number 2, explain why you like it. Number 3, like I told you, invite her to invest. Create a space. Ask her if she has that quality. Give you an example. I really like people who travel. Number 2, there's an adventurousness and an open-mindedness about them that I really like. Number 3, do you like to travel? I really like to travel. There's an adventurousness and an open-mindedness about people who travel a lot that I really like. Do you like to travel? Rather than just saying, do you like to travel? I prefer to, because if you do that, you can fall into this trap of questions. Do you like to travel? Oh, really? Where would you like to go next? Where have you been? Where was your favorite place? And you can fall into this pattern of question, 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 question. But if I back each question up with a statement like that, I might be answering the question in a way beforehand. I'm saying, I like to travel and here's why. Then I generate some content and I stop that question slide from happening. I usually follow this up by saying, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go? For instance, I'd really love to go to South America because I'm a musician and I love the rhythms there. I'd also like to go to India because I'm into yoga and I'd like to study in an ashram for 10 years or something. Okay? What I'm doing is I'm opening up all these opportunities, all these, I call them click topics, things we can click on, things that we can have in common and flow into a natural conversation from. Okay? Musician, South America, rhythms, that could lead to dancing, could be anything. India, yoga, could lead to fitness, anything like that. Ashrams, Buddhism, Hinduism, I should say. Who knows, where it could go. So that's the idea. I'm trying to create wide opportunities for us to click, okay? And she's going to, hopefully, the more into you she is, the more invested her answer will be. So if I use my first example, do you like to travel? I love people who travel. There's an adventurousness and an open-mindedness about them that I really like. Do you like to travel? If she says, yeah, okay, maybe not so into you. If she says, yeah, I just came back from a week in Australia or a year in Australia, whatever it might be, and we had a great time, traveled here and there, and she starts to get involved in the answer, there we have some qualification taking place. She's trying to meet the standards that I've set out. She's trying to say, I'm that kind of a person. I like you. All right? And secondly, if I say, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go? And I open up all these other click topics. It doesn't so much matter whether she answers the underlying question, which is, if you could go anywhere, where would you go? The important thing is that she jumps on something, okay? That she contributes something. I'm inviting her to invest along a whole row of different topics. She could go, I love South America. I've been there, or my mother's from there, or something like that. And she starts to go off in South America and starts to talk about those things, okay? Does that make sense? It's not a linear process of, do you like to cook? Yes. What do you like to cook? You know, and that's, it's like a confrontation thing. It's an invitation. Another example could be, I really like creative people. A lot of my friends are creative people. And there's an openness to new experiences and a passion that, you know, creative people have that I really like. What do you do for fun? Do you see how that fits into the model there, the structure? What do you do for fun? Right? What do you do for fun? I keep it deliberately ambiguous, because very often what happens when a girl's into you is she'll say, I used to paint. You know, I used to play piano when I was a kid. Or I used to write when I was younger. That's not the question I asked. I asked, what do you do for fun? You know? Okay? But very often, a girl's into you and she wants to qualify herself. She wants to say, I'm the thing you like. You know? I'm the thing you like. So she'll try and show that she's creative in some way, even if she's not really currently doing anything, obviously creative. Does that make sense? When you start to go into qualification, you'll reach this qualification tipping point where you start to see what the girl is saying to you is loaded with more than polite conversation. There's an agenda behind what she's saying, and it's to impress you. Or it's to show that she is the thing that you like. And you start to sense this agenda behind what she says, because it doesn't quite fit what you said. It goes a bit further than is necessary in a positive way. Does that make sense? Yeah. And that part there, that's when you know you have some qualification to go with. Now you can put your 5 physical qualities through this model here. You know? You can pick anything. I really like people who go to seminars. Okay, because here we are at a seminar. You know, there's an openness to new knowledge, you know, and just a sense of moving forward and progressing in life that I really like about people who do that. You know, do you like to go to seminars, for instance? I'm not suggesting you use that exact thing, but I'm suggesting is you can talk about anything in an interesting way using this structure. So think about that. We don't have time to do it now, but after the talk, have a think about that. Before you go out tonight, maybe try to put some of your 5 qualities through this model and see if you can start using it. It's my favorite form of qualification. It's the main one that I use in all my interactions, and I sprinkle it through the whole interaction as I see fit. You know, it's a great way of just learning to talk in this way. You know, attraction at the beginning, bit of qualification. You know. All right. Here's some more qualification. Now I'll give you some light qualifiers. These are little pebbles you can throw in. Okay, throw these little pebbles in. If you're not sure where you are, you want to just a touch of qualification, a sprinkling of it here and there, and also to test if you can get that sense of agenda behind what you're saying. See if you can reach that tipping point of qualification. So expect playful cooperation with these. Be ready to cut the thread if they don't land. Be ready to change the subject if they don't land. For example, here's one. Innocuous question. How old are you? How old are you? Has anyone ever had a girl ask you that? Who's had a girl ask you that? Some of you, yeah. How old are you? And it gives you a feeling, doesn't it? Feeling. You want to give the right answer. So if you're 21, you become 23. If you're 23, you become 24. If you're 24, you become 26. If you're 27, you become 26. 28, you become 26. If you're 35, you become 26. 45, 26. Right? You give whatever answer you feel is the best answer to give. Why? Because she's got value. You're trying to qualify to her. So I like to sometimes to flip that around a little bit. Especially if sometimes I like to also know how old she is. If she says something that makes me think she might be a little young or a little old. How old are you? Like that. And very often she'll say how old she is, or she'll say guess or whatever. And I'll follow up with, let me see your ID. Let me see your ID. Playful, it's a joke, you know. A lot of times the girl will get her ID and hand it to you. I've had entire groups of 3 or 4 girls get their ID and give it to me. like I'm a bouncer or something like that, right? It's a sign there, If a girl's not interested, you say, how old are you? She's not going to be, give me your ID. She might laugh politely at the joke. But something changes in the mind when the qualification tipping point's reached, and strange things can start happening. Ted Magnet likes this one. Can you move your eyebrows independently? Try it. She goes, right, it's kind of a fun, playful, light thing to try. Can you move your eyebrows independently? Like The Rock, up and down. And then you say, try it. Can you sing? Can you sing? This thing about, tone deaf people, it's kind of a deal breaker for me. Can you sing? Yeah, I can sing. Sing me something. Sing me your favorite ABBA tune. Right. It's playful thing. I've had girls sing, entire choruses of Mamma Mia and Fernando, whatever, in my ear. Before, showing me that they can sing. Just playful. This is just playful, fun, flirting stuff. Can you roll your tongue? This? That kind of thing. You can tease about whether she can do that or not. Can you roll your tongue? Just some playful pebbles to throw in. And then you start to progress to more medium kind of qualifiers. Open-ended questions like, so what's your story? Or tell me about yourself. Tell me something about yourself. Tell me something interesting about yourself. These are more open-ended, and if a girl's not into you, she won't go there. Okay? But if she is, you'll start to see things happening. She may pause. Don't be afraid of silence in this, sit back a little bit, relax, roll off for a second, give her a chance to think. All right? Remember the onus here, we're shifting the pressure slightly from you to perform as an approaching guy. Shifting the pressure slightly, shifting the load slightly more evenly towards her. You still have to create the chances, but you also want her to feel a sense of expectation from you, that you're waiting to hear something. Okay? You have a standard that you want met. If you could do anything in the world without fear of failure, what would you do? If you could do anything in the world without fear of failure, what would you do? It's a bit deeper. The previous one, if you could go anywhere in the world that you haven't been yet, where would you go? That's a sin line. All right, you can soften these using the soft qualification we talked about before. So if you feel like saying, if you could do anything without fear of failure, what would you do? Because when I was a kid, I used to want to be a, right? You answer your own question, you generate some content. That's a way to soften these qualifiers. You will avoid at all costs, okay? This thing that I see so often, a misunderstanding of qualification where guys say, so what have you got going for more than your looks? What have you got going for you more than your looks? Such a, almost an angry thing, That's not the way to go, in my opinion. It should be playful, teasing, and if you need to soften things up a little bit, then just make some statements, answer your own question. Sexual qualification. You guys want to know a little bit about that? Sure. All right. One of my favorite things to do, I'm getting louder, aren't I? It's exciting. One of my favorite things to do is thanks for the feedback. Appreciate it. Cajun's question game is also a great way to start qualifying sexually, to start to imply that you're looking for something in that way. Things like, what's the craziest place you've ever had sex? It's one of the Cajun's great questions. And one of the things about the question game is, I always frame it like you're trying to get the person to lose, We're asking each other questions. A question game is essentially a game where I ask her a question, she asks me a question, I ask her a question, she asks me a question. It just goes back and forth like that. You're not allowed to repeat questions back to each other. And the questions have to be interesting. That's what the game is. And Cajun has this great structure when he has these different questions that he's figured out work great. It's really fantastic. And one of the things, I like to frame it like, I'm going to try and make you lose. I'm going to try and make you lose. And she said, well, I like to win, I said, okay, well, I'll try and make you lose. So I'll ask her a question like that. And I'll say, damn, I thought I was going to get you with that one, You're obviously very sexually comfortable. I like that. It's cool. All right. Starting to set frames, sexual frames here. I'm starting to... another way of setting sexual frames, when I start talking about, I love a girl who's adventurous and open-minded. I love people who travel. There's an adventurousness and an open-mindedness about them that I really like. These she'll agree with that as she's qualifying with you. And then now we're valuing adventurousness. We're valuing open-mindedness. I talk about creative people who are open to new things, open to new experiences. She's going to start, we're agreeing with that. So when I say, hey, you're really cool, we should exchange numbers, okay? We've already valued adventurousness and open-mindedness. We've set the frame that those are positive, good things, and it's what we are, because she's qualified into that. Okay, so she's more likely to give the number. When you're taking her from the club, leaving the club together, and her friends come and say, where are you going, or what are you doing, as friends are wanted to do, to check up on their friends, she's much more likely to think, no, I'm feeling adventurous, I'm feeling open-minded, I'm going to go on an adventure with this guy. She'll say to her friends, I'm cool, that's cool, I'll text you, don't worry about it. Does that make sense? When you get to the bedroom, all right, and you want to go into the seduction phase, you want to start having a sexual situation with the girl, it's much, much smoother to go in there if you valued things like adventurousness, open-mindedness, sexual expressiveness, comfort in your own skin, these things, okay? Does that make sense? Rather than telling an elaborate story about how my friend got mugged in Sydney, Australia, and you should really be careful these days who you talk to, and now that may be a good story, and you might get a really good reaction from that, if you tell it well, and you really convey how badly he was injured, right? Okay, you'll get a reaction, but it's not a helpful reaction. So you can see the difference there. You can even lead to even more harder qualifications. Things like, you're a beautiful girl, but there's a lot of beautiful girls in Vegas. Tell me something. What are 3 things about you that are interesting, or that make you special, or that make you stand out, something like that? What are 3 things about you that your friends value about you? I'll often, say you're a beautiful girl. It's an old routine. You're a beautiful girl. There are many beautiful girls in the world, and then I'll go on with a question like that. Okay. A lot of times that won't fly if she's not into you. Okay, because it's a hard qualification. But when that starts to fly, you're at that tipping point. You start to notice it. I want you to keep an eye out for this. When you throw these little pebbles, these little qualification things I've given you, have a look for that. Have a look for that loaded agenda kind of conversation you're getting from her. Have a look at what she's saying behind the words. Is she just having a chat, or is she pushing past that tipping point and she's now trying to impress you? All right. So the last part of qualification is to show some interest. I want to show some interest. And it can range from something as simple and light as saying, just looking at her and going, nice. Or looking at her and going, okay. Like that, like you approve. Or you can go a little bit further. And you want to calibrate it. This is another little calibration thing you need to do with qualification. You need to calibrate it. How much is she investing? To how much reward you're going to give back. If you say, do you like to travel? And she says, yeah, I just was in Australia for a whole year. And you go, wow, that's amazing. That's fantastic. Really, that's incredible. And you start to go way too much. It's too much. Another way I like to do it is when I first met you, I thought you were going to be one of these. Boring club girls without very much to say. But now I get to know you. You're really cool. When I first met you, I thought you were going to be X. Now I get to know you. You're Y. Now, that's cool. I like that. You can show interest in the third person. If she starts talking about how she's lived in several countries or she's done different things, she starts to talk about these things, I might say, that's really cool. And I'll go back to what I was telling you before. I'll say, there's something about people who travel. There's an openness and an adventurousness about them that I really like. That's really cool. It softens the interest shown, but it allows me to set those frames still, and it allows me to still show my interest. Sometimes the compliment will hang awkwardly in the air. Maybe you overdo it a little bit, and you need to release. Okay, this is optional. You do it every now and then. You'll figure it out. Sometimes you could do it in a kind of a sexual way. You kind of look at her like, get away from me. You're making me think bad thoughts. Or get away from me. I'm saving myself for marriage, or something like that. And give her a little push away. Now, a tip on this push. All right, this was a mistake I made in the early days. When people said push, I thought they meant push, like a little push. Now, to a girl in 4-inch stilettos, a little push goes a long way, okay? And I've had girls, you'll get away from me. You touch them barely, they start going, right? So it's more kind of, sometimes I just do this and I'll just move away. So be careful when you push. Just a little bit of pressure. Don't push too hard, all right? Other examples of some more playful releases, say, that's cool. I really like that. It's great. Too bad you're so little. Too bad you're from Kansas. Something like that. Some irrelevant tease. Or even, that's really cool. That's awesome. And then pause for a second and say, this isn't going to work out between us. We're too similar. I wouldn't take your shit. You wouldn't take my shit. We'll fight, and I'll win. The whole relationship will be based on fights and make-up sex. That's no way to have a relationship. Something like that can work very well. It's Braddock's line. Tonight, Gandhi said, you never know what results may come of your actions, but if you do nothing, there will be no result. You never know what results may come of your actions, but if you do nothing, there will be no result. Tonight, I want to encourage you to take action, all right? I've given you a lot of material there. I've given you some structures. You've done your exercise. You've got your qualities, all right? Go through the material you've got. Select one or two. Don't do too many. 1 or 2 bits. Get them down. Memorize them if it's a routine, or if it's a structure from your own exercise using that soft qualification structure. Practice it a couple of times. Get it rolling off your tongue. Because the hardest thing is to train your brain at first to begin to qualify. When you start to get a taste for it, when you start to see that tipping point coming, like I've been describing, and you start to get a feeling of qualifying somebody, it begins to come much more naturally. But if this is something you've got a problem with, and a lot of you guys have been saying it's been a difficult thing, all right, get one piece and just force it in, to every set you do tonight, and see what happens. Eventually, qualification will become a natural process. As Future was talking about this earlier, how the linear emotional progression model very, very soon becomes a circular thing. Qualification and attraction, pulling in, pushing away, compliments, releases, all these things, all these little calibrations that you need to make, they become very natural, and they all start to happen very organically and very flowingly. All right? But at first, you need to take the baby steps. You need to take the training wheels and train your mind how to think along these lines. So move forward. Move forward in your interactions. Move forward in the emotional progression model. Move forward in your qualification. Or to put it more biblically, go forth and qualify. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Now, I'll be outside in the hall for the next hour or so. So feel free to ask me any questions. I'll be around the entire weekend, actually. I love to answer questions. I love to discuss these things with you guys. So don't be shy by any means. Come and ask me whatever questions you have about qualification, fast escalation, day game, sexualizing the conversation, all the different things. Come and ask me about those things, all right? I'll be happy to talk to you. Thank you very much.